This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fights and William Hill. Always a pleasure to be joined with Michael McKinson. It's been a couple of months since Bournemouth, since May, but how have you been keeping, mate? How's things been?
Things have been good. Things have been good. We're just waiting on our next opportunity, really. Obviously, I was very, very active. I had 5 fights in just over a year. Just want to keep the ball rolling. I'd love to be out in a decent fight next, before the end of the year. So that's what I'm hoping for.
I was going to say, is it sort of difficult for you at times when Bournemouth, although it seems kind of that recent, but it's still sort of a 3 or 4 months away, 3 or 4 months ago. So for someone like yourself
Yeah,
in the gym, is it hard to sort of keep ticking over when there's no fight date, or when you've just come back from a fight?
yeah. It's always difficult. I'm happiest when I've got a date and I've got something in front of me. At the moment, I'm kind of in a little bit of limbo, like trying to figure out what is next. I'm right there for the big fights. I don't see many people calling me out or mentioning my name. Yeah, just hopefully I can get something soon.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get onto that, but we'll sort of reflect on Bournemouth as a fight week as a whole. A massive sort of fight week on the South Coast, especially for yourself being involved, being in the South Coast. How did you look back now? You reflect on that fight week. Obviously, you got a stoppage win as well, but the whole experience into it was it a good experience for you?
The setup was unbelievable. Fight week was unbelievable. The result was great too. I've never had a setup in a fight week like it was in Bournemouth. Like the sun was out. It was summer. It was less than an hour down the road from where I'm from. Um, on the pier in Bournemouth, it was beautiful. It was great, and I felt very, very blessed to be there. I took my loss last year in August. Then the deal I had at the time, it was the end of my deal as well,
Mhm.
like the one that I had at the time. So like last year, I could have been fighting on small hall shows again. So I met Joe Ashford, who's played a big part in keeping me on these great shows. Um, well, he's been great. Like I'm, I should be higher up the card. I'm one of the best welterweights in the UK, and I feel like I'm a world level athlete. So I do see myself higher up cards in bigger fights. But I've had three comeback fights since Ortiz. Two of them have been on big Sky cards. So very grateful, like that I've been put on these nice events and stuff. But I'm aiming higher. I want to be in a real big fight next.
Was there actually a real fear of that? Like you said there, after the Matchroom deal fell out, was there a fear for you that you could be sort of boxing on small hall again?
Yeah, there was. Nobody owed me any favors. I was on small hall boxing up until the Chris Congo fight for not a lot of money, on small shows, beating good opponents. I've never had it easy, and I did feel like I was going to go back to small hall. It could still happen. I could still be in that position where I have to fight in small hall boxing. It's one of them. I've never really been looked after in my career. I've never really had things easy. I've had to go out and kind of put my foot through the door and force these things to happen. So hopefully we can still stay. Like before this year, the biggest criticism that all I ever got is McKinson can't punch.
Yeah.
So I went into 2023 and I've had 2 fights, 2 stoppages this year. So I'm putting some doubts to bed and stuff. It's just I don't know why are they not calling my name.
I was going to say that because you look at your last two fights, two stoppages. Was it a
Yeah,
conscious effort for yourself to be more aggressive?
yeah, yeah. I finished 2022, and I thought everyone knows I can beat most fighters on points, and I have a better IQ and a better skill set than a lot of fighters. But the realism of it is casuals don't enjoy that.
Yeah.
I want to stay on the big stage. I want to stay on big cards. So it has been a conscious effort to be more exciting, be a little bit more aggressive, and actually, when I have people in trouble, get them out of there. And I have done that. Like I have done that. So I'm just trying to be a little bit more like appealing to the casuals, and I believe I'm doing so.
And for yourself there, we'll go back to what you said about, no one handing you any favours and you're worried about sort of going back on the small hall circuit. Does it, is, your career and your pro career really opened yourself up to the sort of the savageness of professional boxing in a way, especially the business side where you think anything can happen at one bit, and it's sort of, it makes you a lot more careful, like sort of even sort of outside the ring.
Yeah, I've learned a lot in my career, and I've learned a lot about the sport. I've been at the very, very bottom, the struggling of professional boxing, and I've been at the very top, getting flew business out to America, headlining big cards in America and stuff like that. So I've seen a lot in boxing. I've learned a lot. It is savage sometimes. It is very, very savage and stuff like that. So yeah, I have learned a lot. I'm in my 9th year as a professional. Um, I've had 26 pro fights. I've only lost to Virgil Ortiz. And I always feel like I'm a little bit hard done by. I've had a colourful CV, but it's always that thing like I know what I deserve,
Yeah,
And
100%.
so, but it's still not over. I'll keep proving people wrong. I'll keep getting good results, and my time will come again.
100%. We'll push on to what's next for you. We see you, you're always someone that's banging on the drum for big fights. You're always talking about, the big names. We could list off all the big names at welterweight. We see you did fight on a couple boxer shows. Is there any sort of been talks about signing a promotional deal with them, or would you sort of prefer the idea of sort of boxing wherever you want?
Yeah, there's not been any talks of that yet at all. I'm very blessed to be on them cards, and I owe a huge thanks to Joe Ashford, who's been on board ever since probably November last year, and he's really been doing me a favour. But yeah, maybe that's something that I do need, like a little bit more stability in my career. Maybe something like that, a contract. Who knows? Who knows what I'm going to be offered and what opportunities come my way. Um, but what people do know is I will fight anybody.
Yeah,
That's the thing. And I know a lot of boxers talk, I'll fight him, I'll fight that, but don't actually back it up. 2 years before I fought Virgil Ortiz, you can find it somewhere. I actually called his name 2 years before, and I went out there and backed it up and boxed him in his own backyard. So I ain't scared of anybody else. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? I'm not scared of anyone. I've been to Texas to fight Ortiz. Um, so I back it up. All these other guys that are talking this name, this name, this name, and they don't back it up at all. It's just all words, all for the camera and stuff like that. So that is frustrating to see. There are a lot of fakes in boxing, but the cream always rises, as they say.
100%. Well, we'll talk about one of them names. You said that sort of no one. He said on Saturday he got a stoppage win on Saturday. It's Florian Marku. He said that sort of he's avoided and he called names out. That obviously provoked a response from you where you just said there about how you'd want to fight anyone. So I'm sure you look at someone like Marku with a big profile, a big following, and I'm sure that's something that you'd definitely be interested in. And he did have a little bit of a response to your tweet from me.
Great, great result for him. I'll take nothing away from that result. The guy he fought has not really proven himself in a professional ring. I had a look at his record before the fight and stuff like that. He's beaten no one, but nonetheless, he went out there and blew him out there. So props to Marku for that. But then him saying afterwards he's avoided, I thought that was a bit of an insult at me because I am avoided. I can name loads of people that would love to punch that big head of his in. Chris Congo, he would love to fight Marku. How can Marku say he's avoided? I would love to beat Marku up. No, I think my little brother beats Marku. Like I think my little brother beats Marku. He would love the opportunity too. There's a queue of him. I understand he wants them big fights and stuff like that, and he's got that platform. He's very popular and stuff like that. But he beats none of them names he called out. None of them at all. That was a little bit frustrating because when like my rivals and stuff like that fight, I'll just get tagged in loads of stuff. So I did tweet the other day, and he kind of brushed me under the carpet a little bit in the response to you, saying that I don't have a following and stuff. I sold quite a few tickets for the Bournemouth show back in May.
Yeah,
you know, I did actually. Sold quite a few tickets for the Bournemouth show in May, and I'm actually more proven than Florian Marku. If I was to fight Marku, I would probably be the favourite.
Yeah,
I would, and and he tries to brush me under the carpet like that. It's funny. It's funny.
He did also say he said that he didn't want to sort of implement. He didn't want people to make money off his name, and he said that he could spar. You could go and spar him with or without gloves. How do you respond to that?
There's nothing in that for me. Nothing in that for me. And how can I use Florian Marku for his name? I've been in a ring with Virgil Ortiz Jr. in America and gave a great account for myself. I wouldn't be fighting him to use him for his name. I'll be fighting him because there's a long list of people that would love to beat him up. Love to beat him up. And I'm one of them.
I suppose you say that because you said that Chris, I mean, a matchup that would make sense would be him and Chris Congo. But for yourself, you beat Chris Congo, a couple of years ago. So is it sort of, do you ever look at it sort of yourself a level above Marku in a way because of the guys that you've beaten, the resume?
I am a level above Marku. Not in platform and things like that. No way. He's a bigger name than Michael McKinson. But in terms of level, I think the whole of boxing would understand I'm all wrong for Florian Marku. But I beat Congo up 2 years ago. That's a great fight for Marku as well. I think Congo beats him. I'm honest. I think Congo beats Marku. I think my little brother beats Florian Marku. You know? But yeah, there's just that. Like, fair play to him. Like, he blew him out there. He looked great. But no, he's not in my league.
Yeah, and another name that I think would be a good match. I mean, it's someone that you have called out. Like I don't know. There's not many people that you haven't called out. Do you know what I mean? And it must be sort of frustrating to not get these opportunities. But another name that you've called out, and it seems like it would make the most sense. He's just come off a world level fight. Would be David Avanesyan. That sort of makes sense for you. And how big of a fight do you think that could be between yourself and him, with making the most sense?
They're interested in it. We're interested in it. It's a much harder fight than Florian Marku. Do you know what I mean? It would push me on for great things after. Like that. I'm as real as they come. I know that Avanesyan beats the majority of the fighters over here, and I think I'll beat every fighter over here. So I would love that fight. I think I'd get a lot of respect in boxing for going fighting Avanesyan, but not only that, beating him. I think I'd get a lot of respect. And they're interested in it too. It's just if a promoter wants to pull it on, we're up for it. It's a great fight for the welterweight division. Great. And I really do believe I beat him.
Do you feel like your patience and your relentlessness in wanting a big fight will pay off?
Hopefully. I don't know what more I can do and how I could approach it. Be the nice guy, which I am, doesn't do me any favours. Being a loudmouth trying to call this guy out, I don't get listened to. So I don't know how to approach it. I don't know what more I can do in terms of getting the results and proving people wrong and stuff. I've only lost to Ortiz at 26 fights, and I was always in the fight. So I don't know what more I can do. But they all know I'm here, and they all know my phone's on. The answer's yes. The answer's yes.
Is it one of these ones where are you always sort of, for you, is it like the phone's always got to be ready for you, where it might be, there might be a big fight, and would you ever be sort of say you might have to step in at short notice or something like that, or
Yeah, that's always difficult. That's always difficult with a guy that's been doing 147 for 10 years. The whole my adult life, I've been doing 147. So that's always difficult to be able to be right 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out. Will you fight so and so at 147? That's always tough. But there's been times before I've been on it and I've been in the gym and I'll get a phone call back January 2021. I got a phone call. Will you fight Chris Congo in 6 weeks' time?
Yeah.
No problem, because I thought at the time I'd never get the opportunity again. I said yes, went out there, beat him up, dropped him in round one, earned a contract off of it and everything, stuff like that. But as time goes on, it is harder to make the weight. I do need a little bit more time and stuff like that. So who knows?
Because I was going to say that because you said that it was you're talking about 147 there, but you said that the Bournemouth fight, it was sort of the easiest time you've made 147?
Yeah,
so,
no, Bournemouth fight was 149. It was matched
okay.
out, I think.
Yeah.
But because I've been so active, because I've been so active, it was probably the easiest I've come down in a couple of years. If I'm honest, I've got a great team around me and stuff like that. But we had time. Like I started 2023 with a little bit of speculation. There may be a big show happening in the May.
Yeah.
So I fought in March. So I used the first camp to get myself in relatively good shape, stayed on it, and then I went straight back into another camp. So I didn't have to worry about weight. I didn't have to worry about fitness and all stuff like that. So yeah, but anyone out there, give me 10 weeks and I'll be there and I'll beat them. That's it.
Because and another thing we were talking about there about sort of being, you wanting the opportunities, you're being overlooked. Is it frustrating though when you see guys with bigger profiles like Conor Ben, for example? You've called his name. He's you've sort of always called his name, but he hasn't even got a license, and they're talking about big fights of him. But when you look at rankings wise and biologically, you're probably number one in the UK. So this must be sort of, you must be kicking yourself at times.
It's annoying. It's annoying. It is. I just got to trust my team, the people around me, trust the process. I'd love to be out sooner rather than later. I'm 30 in April. I want 2 more by 30, but 2 more decent fights. Like since Ortiz, I've had 3 comeback fights, 1-2 by stoppage, but they've been like 8 rounders.
Yeah,
I'm a title level fighter. I need another bout. I need another fight which gets me excited, gets the public excited, gets the supporters, because I'm here and I'm ready for them.
Yeah. So, and sometimes to get your own wage, you sometimes feel like you might need to for a big fight. You might need to just give something a little bit in a way. Like you might have to sort of. Is that something that you're willing to do?
I've been the B side many times in my career. I've been the B side, beat people in their own backyard, and stuff like that. If people look at my record and see what I've done, I've been the B side many times. That doesn't faze me at all. Even last year when I went to LA and Ortiz pulled out, I beat a Golden Boy fighter on a Golden Boy show. I was still the B side. When I boxed Sam McNess, I boxed him in York Hall. I was the B side there. When I beat Ryan Martin, I came to the ring being booed and abused in Swindon. I was a B side there. Like even when I fought in Gibraltar, I fought Pongo and he was part of Dylan White's team. It was a Dylan White show basically. I was the B side there.
Yeah.
So that doesn't faze me. I just want the phone to ring in a proper fight, whether that be the Markus, even Congo again. He's a boxer fighter. Avanesyan, like any of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Mikey, I just wanted to say I always appreciate catching up with you. It's always good to chat to you. So I appreciate the time, man. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on. I feel relevant again a little bit.
Mate, you should always be relevant, man. I appreciate it, mate. So yeah, take care, man. Good to chat to you.
Make sure all them 147s know I'm here.
Mate, they all know. They all know. Stop, man. Thank you,
Nice
mate.
one.